His softly curling hair was as pale as the moonlight, and his features had a cut-glass clarity to them that perfectly combined masculinity and gentility. "It is the East," he called up to her, "and Miss Tarleton is the sun." She sighed a little. "It's night." "It's Shakespeare." "For heaven's sake," she retorted. "I am more than aware it's Shakespeare. Books were the only escape I had for the first 19 years of my life." "I just meant—" It was hard to tell at this distance, but he seemed flustered. "You look lovely, like a 13-year-old girl." What? No, like a heroine." And to think she had once been appalled beyond reckoning because the Duke of Malvern had disrespected Ophelia in her presence. A heroine who stabs herself because a man has overreacted. If that were to be a general pattern for our sex, there would be none of us left. There was a silence from below. Then, "Miss Tarleton, should I go home? I am beginning to think you might prefer me to go home." Something was wrong with her, something deep in her soul, and she no longer knew when the rot had set in. If it had begun with the events of the previous year, when she had fled an unwelcome fiancé, only for her twin brother to welcome said fiancé most enthusiastically in her stead, he was, in fact, still welcoming him nightly, sometimes several times nightly. Or if it was older, if it had spread its corruption beneath her skin the moment she had inescapably concluded that happy ever-afters, the ones full of kisses and rose leaves and promises and poetry, belonged only to fairy tales. But perhaps it didn't matter. Irrespective of the cause, the fact remained. Once upon a time, she would have thrilled to have a beautiful man offering her the gift of Shakespeare. And now all she felt was nothing. "No," she said, for she owed it to the girl she had once been. "Don't leave, although please do stop shouting from the garden. You'll wake the household." His lordship cast around in some confusion. "Where should I shout from?" "If you came up here, you wouldn't need to shout." "But Miss Tarleton, Romeo came up," Arabella pointed out. There was a pause. "I don't think he did. I think he offered an exchange of faithful vows." "How considerate of him." "Also," the Earl went on, "there wasn't a balcony." Arabella was beginning to think she would have been better advised to retire alone. Her own fingers were never this annoying. "What do you mean there wasn't a balcony in the balcony scene of Romeo and Juliet?" "It's a window. What light through yonder window breaks?" "It could have been a window to a balcony." "The stage directions say it's a window. Windows, you know, had particular social significance in 14th century Italy." "And I'm sure the social significance of windows in 14th century Italy was of great concern to the man who believed Verona to be a port." The Earl drew in a breath so emphatically that Arabella heard it upon her balcony. "Miss Tarleton, Shakespeare was a genius." "But clearly not a geographer." She curled her hands lightly over the railing and proceeded, with some effort, in a more conciliatory tone. "My lord, as previously established, we enjoy many advantages over these fictional lovers. I am not a child, nor a wee doomed, and I happen to be possessed of a very accessible balcony." His lordship began. She let the flimsy material of her night rail slip from one of her shoulders. Her skin gleamed silver in the uncertain light. It was a shame, she reflected, that the Earl was just an Earl. Had he have been something better, like a painter, he would surely have wanted to immortalize her. He concluded. "Yes,